pleasure to introduce to you the man of the hour,
Tony.
Hello and welcome back to At the Gates. I am your host, Tony, and with me is Atlanta Jared, because I'm going to spoil it. He's picking at the Atlanta Braves to go all the way. Is that correct, Jared?
Absolutely not.
All right. So you said to me via text, I believe, that you have something that we have to talk about before the playoffs start. What is that?
Are you going to post this before the game starts? Because that matters.
Probably not.
Dang it. All right. Well,
but at least you can sound this. This is recorded at 12:30 p.m. on Tuesday, so before the first game has started for the Twins.
okay, you heard it here first. The Reds are going to beat the Braves. You heard it here second because it's already on Twitter. Kenta Maeda is starting for us tonight, and we have to go against Zach Greinke. So Donnie's out. Buxton's in.
Kirilloff is in.
Kirilloff is going to make his MLB debut in the playoffs. But that's not really what I care to talk about. What I care to talk about is, one, how appropriate timing your podcast, At the Gates podcast post was on YouTube, because I listened to it yesterday and all the predictions that we had made and how hilariously good but bad they were.
That was made on opening day here at Target Field way back in July, so 2 months ago. What was so funny about that?
We talked about, and I made sure to specifically ask you, what teams do you think were going to be the tank teams from last year that made it into the playoffs this year? And you said, White Sox. Even though that wasn't really, but sort of was kind of, and that's okay, that's fine. But then we talked about the Marlins and how turning over their entire roster could be very helpful for the team. And look at what's happening. They made it to the playoffs.
A team that has never lost a series in the playoffs, so they're either destined to win it all or really destined to ruin their streak.
Why are we even playing the playoffs? We might as well just give it to the Marlins because they win every time they make it.
That's true.
So,
and what did we say about the Twins?
What did we say? I don't remember. I don't remember that part.
Okay.
I do remember you saying 40 games was possible. 42 games would be like out of sight, out of mind, like just crazy. But the Dodgers got 40. Did they finish with 42 or 43? I know they had something 42. Like that, yeah. And then you said the Twins were going to get 35 or something like that. And then I think I said like one more. So we were pretty dead on there. But I would like to promote the idea that the Marlins use coronavirus as a method to infect their team, turn over the entire roster, and then now look at where they're headed.
So it's an inside job?
It's a conspiracy, I'm telling you.
I find it funny because both teams from Florida are in the playoffs, and yet Florida was the most ravaged state by coronavirus, so maybe it is the epicenter for a reason.
I'm telling you, they got something shady going on down there. And speaking of shady, who did the NL Central pay off to get 4 teams in? Except the Pirates.
That's true. But then again, they didn't really. It's because no one else really dominated. It was weird this year. So here's what I'm going to ask you. First, who's going to win this Twin series?
I believe that the Twins will win this series. And
how many games?
Shake their playoff drought. I think it's probably going to take all 3 games.
Okay. And then, who will make it to both CSs? So ALCS first and then NLCS.
Honestly, I think the Dodgers will make the NLCS. Padres maybe have a good chance, I think. I'm hoping the Padres do. I don't remember how they line up. I forgot to check that before I left the house. And then I have a good feeling that the Twins can make the ALDS and have a good run at the ALCS. at least. But I think probably Tampa Bay is going to make the ALCS. And that's about as far as I'm willing to go, because I forgot the rest of how the bracket lines up. So
I think what I did was put the Dodgers, and then I was high on your Reds.
that's good. They've been playing really good lately. P.S. Lorenzen, like, okay, that guy is like a specimen of a man. Like, you look like
Jared has a crush.
He's kind of an Adonis, dude. Like, I can't say bad against the guy. Like, he even came in and ran in the extra innings for the Reds the other day. So, like,
Jared's pants are getting tighter.
Exactly. I can't.
Just like his shirt was tight on those biceps.
His shirt was very tight on those biceps.
So I had their pitching basically dominating that lower part of the bracket. And then for the ALCS, I think I actually put the Twins against the Rays. But then I had Rays versus Dodgers for the World Series, and then the Dodgers winning it all.
I mean, it's only about time they finally do it.
Yeah.
That seems like a reasonable bracket to me, though.
Which, that sucks because what you just said about the Marlins making it, nothing about the season is reasonable. So the fact that I have a reasonable bracket means that I don't have confidence in it because something weird's going to happen.
But that's exactly why I asked the question early on in the season, because a season like this can do exactly what's happening, and crazy things can happen. And of all things, the Marlins make the playoffs. And so that's what makes it super exciting this year, even though it's crazy and it's not perfect and we don't like the sub 500 teams like Zach Hampel was tweeting about the other day. But that's kind of to me, that's what's fun about March Madness, because anybody can win at any time. And that's what's fun about crazy seasons like this, because teams can take advantage of that and have a streak and make it.
And when people were bitching about it being a short season anyways, the fact that they expanded playoffs means that, yeah, we had less regular season games, but now we're having more playoff games. More baseball doesn't seem like a bad thing. I don't understand why people are getting upset. And if those teams are truly that bad to be under 500, they will either lose in the first round, or if baseball rights itself, they will not make it past the second round.
Exactly. In theory, that's the way it should work out. But at the end of the day, the way it comes down to is, and I think we've talked about this before, why, like, for example, why does baseball need 162 games? Why does baseball need multiple series with 7 games, right? Like, why do they need that? Well, because you're trying to determine the best overall team and let them through. Okay, well, that makes sense. But in a shortened season, you don't get the 162, so you're forced to have to add extra teams to the playoffs to give those truly good teams their due.
And this wild card round is no longer one game, which the purists hated. The one game
plan was stupid.
So it's like, we got rid of the thing that we just complained about. Yeah, we had to add more teams, but it should right itself. I just wish that people would, as much as I'm a purist when it came to the extra innings things and some of the stuff that they had to implement for this season, I'm not so dead of a purist that, like, I have to say only the best team from each league should make it, and they should just play in the World Series. That's fucking boring.
We could take it back to 1920 when only the top NL team and the top AL team made it, and that's it. Like,
you won the pennant and you made it to the World Series.
Yeah.
Boo!
Right. Plus, the playoffs are more exciting anyways. Just like anything, it seems like the players put more effort into it, and the plays seem to be that much bigger, that much grander, and that much more exciting.
So do I call you Dodger Jared or Tampa Jared?
If the Dodgers play the Rays in the playoffs, I'm definitely going to cheer for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Is it because of their stadium and your boner that you have for the Lime Pops?
100%. 100%.
Speaking of which, next year, maybe?
I'm hoping so.
Our 24-hour day?
So we're going to be able to get our fix if the Twins make it to the next round, right? Because that's when the ALDS and the ALCS play at Dodger Stadium, and the NLDS and the NLCS play at Petco. So, like, okay, of all things, like, two of the really great stadiums of Major League Baseball are going to be featured throughout the whole World Series, and then they have to go to Texas.
And what if they open it up for fans? Would you want to go to LA and see a Twins game?
There's no way we could afford it, but
Actually,
I would like to try.
Ticket prices, no, but the other prices, like flights and stuff, I would think would be very reasonable.
That's a very valid point, yes.
So you're hearing it first here. Jared and I are going to the playoffs.
But I mean, how crazy would that be? Like, I'm not secretly, I'm kind of like sort of hoping that the Reds can just ride that wave and just topple everybody and make
Reds
it to the World
Twins.
Series.
What happens?
Ooh, if the Reds keep playing like they're playing, I honestly don't think the Twins have a chance even.
Who are you
7
cheering
games.
for, though?
Probably the Twins, but only because that's my team, and the Reds really is my dad's team, but I support them through my dad.
Would you have a friendly wager with him?
That could be fun to do. We've never bet on things like that, but that would be fun to do.
What would it be, like a cinnamon roll and chili? Winner has to pay?
Ooh, probably
Or you could do the crunchy cola with him.
make him try like crazy flavors and stuff that he hasn't had before. Yeah, it would probably have to be something that's a little less, like, it would be cool to be like, all right, the loser has to pay for tickets to the next series we go to or whatever, but
At the stadium of their fandom. So he would have to say, I'm taking you to Cincinnati. You would take him to Target Field. Seems fair.
I would think that if I lose, I could take him to Cincinnati, but because we're here, that's less of a draw, so it'd have to be something different for me, and I'd have to think about that, but yeah. To take him to Cincinnati again would be a good bet if he won.
Yeah, and if the Twins played in Cincinnati, then he takes you to see the Twins in Cincinnati.
That'd be fair.
We should look at the schedule, because 2021 is already out.
I'm pretty sure they don't play.
Damn it. Well, do you feel good about this?
I feel fairly certainly 100% half confident in the fact that the Twins will play baseball today.
Perfect. So, anything else that you have for 2020, because this may be the last one?
Enjoy the playoffs as if it was March Madness. Don't see it as anything other than just this weird kind of one-off deal where anybody can win. I mean, that can happen in any year, but it's a little more exaggerated this year. So,
and congrats to Tampa Bay for winning the Stanley Cup yesterday.
They did win the Stanley Cup yesterday, and they beat the former Minnesota North Stars. So
they could potentially also win the World Series.
And the football team, having picked up Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, has a legitimate shot at making the Super Bowl and potentially winning the Super Bowl this year.
And
Now, I don't know what they've done in the first.
Tampa doesn't have a basketball team, but the Heat are still in it. So for Floridians, could really be celebrating.
This could be a hell of a year for Floridians.
Which is saying something, because a lot of them died.
Wait, so Pittsburgh, New England had Boston. Have they had all four big sports in 1 year? They had hockey and baseball in 1 year.
And basketball was 2009, so that's probably about the same time.
They didn't have it in the same year. They had it in consecutive years for a couple of the sports too.
Boston would probably be your best bet for 4 in a calendar year.
This could legitimately be the first year where all 4 major sports are lined up to have.
Or it could be really good for LA, because Dodgers and Lakers winning it, kind of your big name teams.
That's true.
It's like cheering for the Yankees on the West Coast, but you know what? It is what it is.
At least it's not the Yankees.
So in a way, Minnesota could have another banner raised if the Lakers win, right?
Yes.
Way to go, Sid Hartman.
And I think they would hang it at Target Field too, right? Because the Town Ball Tavern has the Minneapolis Lakers court.
Yep.
That's where all the Lakers remnants have left.
And we have some of the wood up there too, right?
That's what the court,
okay.
The court floor. The floor of the bar is the old court that the Minneapolis Lakers used to play on.
So much sweat and probably some booze.
Hookers and blow.
Well, that's a good place to end. 2020, hookers and blow. Good night. Update, post-game / mid-game update. The Twins lost last night. 17 in a row in the playoffs. A record not only in Major League Baseball, but all 4 of the major sports leagues in the U.S. So we got that going for us. Mid-game score update is 0-0. It is the second inning. So this might be the season here today. I'm hoping not, but it's possible. And I don't know. Ask me in a few more hours how I feel, because right now, no bueno. And of course it has to be the Astros. We already hated the Yankees. We already had that going. And if there's one team that's hated more than the Yankees right now, it's the Astros, and somehow the Twins are going to lose to an even more hated team. It's... Come on, man. But it's 0-0 right now. All we need is a couple runs. Turn the tides here. See if we can do something that hasn't been done since, I think, 2004? That's win a playoff game. So there might be one more update in a few hours. But until then, go Twins. Major League Baseball is still in Minnesota right now for, at most, one more calendar day. Hopefully it extends into October, but only time will tell. Final addendum of 2020. It's been a couple days, and I've been able to process it. The Twins lost. They lost both games. Got swept. Lost 18 straight postseason games, and it's just not pretty. I'm at a loss for words, which seems weird because I've had a few days to process this, but it just, while it doesn't make sense, it also makes total sense. It's just one of those things where it feels like when you are involved with a franchise of some sort, whether it's sports or something else that feels like it's a team thing, you feel like your team is the one that always gets slighted. Your team is always the one that has the worst luck because you're the one who's in it and you see it through the eyes and the lens of that team and that team only. And that's what it feels like here. It feels like, of course, Minnesota's cursed. All these Minnesota sports have sucked for way too long. The Vikings have never won a Super Bowl. They choke, and that's good news for me because I'm not a Vikings fan or a football fan, but that's neither here nor there. Timberwolves suck. Again, not a Timberwolves fan, but they've never won anything. Obviously, our history with hockey here is that we have really great youth hockey all the way up through college, and then it takes a nosedive, and we've never won a Stanley Cup here in the state of hockey. So it's when it feels like everything around you is through that lens of Minnesota sports has it so rough, you start to believe it. But then I have to take a step back and realize there's plenty of teams that haven't won something, or there's also other sides that have gotten unlucky, haven't gotten the calls go their way, that haven't had certain breaks that even the Twins have gotten. I mean, we won game 163 over the Tigers back in 2009, and we got lucky with that. I mean, Brandon Inge, he definitely got hit by a pitch, even though it was only his shirt. He still technically got hit. That didn't get called, and that potentially more than likely saved our season. There's certain things that have happened that we've been lucky here, but it's hard to see that when you have a goose egg in 18 tries for the playoffs. I'm hopeful that it will end sometime soon, at least in my lifetime. But nothing should be taken for granted, and unfortunately we're going to have to wait probably about 365 days to see if the Twins even make the playoffs, let alone can win a game. I'm hopeful, given some of the players that we should have on the squad, but again, you can't just say, oh, we were good the last 2 years, so of course it's going to be a straight line and everyone's going to perform. That's not a given. And some guys could leave. And other teams in the division are on the up, like the White Sox, even like the Indians. I mean, their pitching is, at least. And I would dare say that Detroit and Kansas City can't be as bad as they have been and showed promise at certain points. So it's going to be its own unique struggle for the Twins here to maintain and keep competitive in their own division, let alone for sure be in the playoffs. So this is a long-winded, and this is it for 2020. I'm not going to any more baseball games. It's going to be a long off season because that's been how 2020 has been in general. It's been the longest and shortest year possible, and I just hope that everyone stays safe, that the hellfire that is 2020 is extinguished, and that something better will happen the next time that I'm talking to you. Stay safe, stay positive, and maybe I'll see you at the gates.